You are not sorry. You are paying a ransom. The words leave your mouth, and you feel the relief before you feel the shame. That is the first sign. Real remorse does not arrive in that order. Real remorse sits heavy, arrives slowly, asks nothing of the other person. What you felt was the click of a lock releasing, the danger passing. You bought the ceasefire and you called it an apology. You were not apologizing. You were surrendering. This pattern does not begin in adulthood. It begins in the house where disagreement was punished more severely than the original offense. The child learns fast. The words, "I am sorry," are not about repair. They are currency. They are the coins pressed into the hand of someone who has the power to keep wounding you. The parent who withdraws love. The sibling who escalates. The teacher who controls your hours. Sorry stops the bleeding. Sorry is not admission. It is survival strategy dressed in the language of conscience. You carry this forward. You do not examine it because it works. The pattern is reinforced every time the other person softens, every time the tension drops, every time you are allowed back into the room. You learn to apologize preemptively. You learn to apologize for having been wounded. You learn to apologize for the inconvenience of your pain. You thought of someone else just now. That is the protection working. You thought of the person who should hear this, the person who made you sorry when you were not sorry, the person who extracted your surrender and called it reconciliation. You are still paying them in your imagination. The pattern outlives the original creditor. Watch how it moves in your current life. The colleague who interrupts you in meetings and you apologize for speaking. The partner who withdraws and you apologize for needing reassurance. The friend who vanishes and returns and you apologize for noticing. Each time you are purchasing temporary peace at the cost of your own account. You are not building relationship. You are paying protection to a structure that keeps you small. The intelligent person's version of this is particularly elegant. They have read about boundaries. They use the vocabulary of emotional labor and detachment styles. They apologize with footnotes. They say, "I am sorry I reacted that way. I know my trauma response is not your responsibility." And they believe this is growth. It is not growth. It is the same ransom, now with a graduate degree. The sophistication is in the packaging. The transaction is identical. They are still paying to exist near someone who has demonstrated they will punish existence. The high achiever's version is faster, more efficient. They apologize to clear the obstacle and return to work. They do not linger over the humiliation. They have automated the payment. Sorry is a button they press, a toll on the highway to the next accomplishment. They do not notice the accumulation. They do not notice that every apology unpriced is a piece of self they no longer locate. They are successful, and they are scattered. The success is real. The scattering is also real. The person who found this pattern through therapy uses the vocabulary of healing to continue the wound. They apologize for their boundaries. They apologize for their anger, which was information. They apologize for the inconvenience of their recovery. The language of growth becomes another form of self-erasure. They have learned to name the pattern without stopping the payment. Naming is not stopping. Naming is sometimes the most sophisticated way of continuing. I have observed this across thousands of accounts. The mechanism does not vary by culture or era or class. The human animal learns quickly what stops pain. The specific words change. The specific currencies change. The structure does not. You apologize to the person who hurt you because they established the price of your peace, and you have never questioned whether the price was theirs to set. The cost accrues in ways that do not show immediately. You lose the sense of what you actually believe. You lose the sense of where you actually stand. You become a person who is always slightly out of position, always slightly apologetic about being present, always slightly ready to surrender territory you have not yet examined. The relationships you keep are not relationships. They are subscription services you maintain with regular payments of self. You are not loved. You are tolerated, and you pay for the tolerance, and you call this connection. There is a late moment, usually in the third or fourth decade, sometimes later. You are alone, or you are with someone safe for the first time, and you reach automatically for the apology that is not owed, and you feel the familiar relief begin to rise, and you catch it. You see the machinery. You see that the relief is not peace. It is the absence of immediate threat. You have been living in a condition of low-grade emergency so long, you mistook the siren's pause for safety. Awareness does not dissolve the pattern. I have watched this too. The recognition arrives, and the behavior continues. The mouth opens, the words come, the relief follows. Then the shame of knowing. The shame is new. but the transaction is old. You are paying twice now, once to them, once to your own observation of yourself paying. This is not progress. This is the pattern, adding a layer. The rare exception is not the person who stops apologizing. It is the person who learns to tolerate the unsafety of not apologizing. The partner who withdraws, and they do not chase with surrender. The colleague who punishes, and they let the punishment arrive and remain. They discover that most consequences they feared were themselves transactions, imaginary debts they were paying to imaginary collectors. The real consequence is smaller than the anticipation. The real consequence is sometimes nothing. The silence after the unsent apology is occasionally just silence, not escalation, not abandonment, just another person waiting to see what they will do and finding that you have done something different and adjusting to it. This is rare because it requires sitting in the period where the other person has not yet responded. The ransom is paid to avoid exactly this interval. The not knowing, the possibility that the other person will now do the thing you feared. You have been paying to skip this moment your entire life. Learning to inhabit it is not a decision. It is a practice of accumulating moments where you did not pay, where the feared thing did not arrive, where you slowly recalibrate your sense of what actually costs. You are not sorry. You never were. That is not an accusation. That is the observation that rewrites the entire ledger. If the apology was never real, the debt was never real. The person who hurt you did not receive your remorse. They received your surrender, and they called it forgiveness, or maturity, or the strength to apologize first. They were wrong. You were wrong too, but not in the way you thought. You were wrong about what you were doing. You were not making amends. You were making payments. The payments stop when you see them clearly enough that the relief no longer follows the words. When the automatic pattern becomes visible as pattern. When you feel the old urge rise and you let it pass through without speaking it. The other person may notice. They may not. That is also information. Whether they notice and what they do when they notice tells you whether they were creditor or companion. Most creditors do not stay once the payments cease. They find new debtors. This is not cruelty. This is the system revealing itself. You are not sorry. You are paying a ransom. The kidnapper was never them. The kidnapper was the part of you that learned young that existence was expensive and that you must finance your own welcome in every room you entered. That part is still collecting. It speaks in their voice now, but it was always yours.